My name's Eli Hallowell.
My name is Erica Hallowell.
Welcome to the Sans Savon family. I call it our family because this is the business, just the two of us. That means that if you write into customer service, one of us is writing back. It means that we're doing all of the content because there's no one else to do it. And it means that this is our special passion project. And what we thought we'd do today is do a little Q&A where we ask each other questions that actually a journalist recently asked of us.
Yep.
And answer them so that you can learn another level deeper about the products and the brand, because the only reason you'd be watching this video is if you're interested in that. So why don't we give it a start?
Sounds good.
All right, Erica, I would like to ask you what the inspiration was for creating Sans Savon, both the products and the brand.
Okay, great. So I'll start with the product story. Eli and I were part of the founding team at Hair Story, and when we stepped away from day-to-day management at Hair Story at the end of 22, we started having conversations about what was going to be next for us professionally. And one of the ideas was to take the concept of foam-free, detergent-free cleansing that is sort of the central core of Hair Story and explore whether you could apply the same concept to your skin. And Eli in particular has very dry skin, like so dry that in the winter his hands and knuckles sometimes would even kind of like crack and be so uncomfortable. And so again, it was like another reason for us to choose, like, well, let's take this idea and see if we can clean our hands and body in a way that would protect our body's moisture and lead to healthier skin. So we started to work with a formulator that we know, and he is Canadian. He splits his time between Montreal and Toronto. He's really innovative and creative, and we started working on formulas with him. And very quickly in the process, it was clear that we were onto something pretty amazing. Like even the first few submissions were really special, and we got really excited.
And so different. I love how different they are.
And so then we started getting excited, and some of our conversations and brainstorming time kind of evolved to, okay, well, what is this company, this product, this brand can be called? Like, what is the inspiration in addition to just the product innovation? And in the summer of 2019, we had discovered a region in Quebec called the Charlevoix. And it is a region about 2 hours northeast of Quebec City. And it is this really kind of pristine, beautiful, unique combination of rolling farmlands, pretty striking mountains all along the side of the sort of beautiful and vast, like such a wide, beautiful expanse of water, the Gulf of the St. Lawrence. And we really fell in love with it. We had just a really lovely month with our kids and family, and had spent a lot of summers vacationing in Canada and kind of daydreaming and fantasizing about maybe being able to buy a second home somewhere in Canada at some point in the future. And we fell in love with this place. And so we were fortunate enough around 2 years ago to actually buy the house that we rented all those years ago. And it's a really beautiful, special, wonderful place. And so as we were working on these formulations and getting really excited about this idea, we were in Quebec. We were at our home in Charlevoix. And I think it was your idea that sort of the brand inspiration should really come from this new place that we were making a big part of our life. And as soon as that came out, it's like everything fell into place. the name Sans Savon is French for without soap. And like the colors, the shapes, like the shape of our bottle is inspired by these very unique looking lighthouses along the St. Lawrence. It's so clean and pristine and beautiful. And so just the ethos of all the decisions we had already made about the ingredients being naturally derived, upcycled where possible, finding small batch, producers wherever possible, using plastics that were post-consumer plastics. It's just like everything felt so aligned suddenly and drove a lot of the next round of decisions. And one of the biggest decisions we were facing at the moment was what the product was going to smell like. And the air is so fresh and clean. And we have had experiences where we have driven there from our home in New York, and it's a 10-hour drive. It's a long drive. And you get out of the car and there's this like sweet, fresh, piney smell that is like really obvious and beautiful. And so we developed what we have now called our Boreal Forest Blend, which is a combination of kind of pines and spruces from the region. And that is sort of the base smell of all of our products. The smell, I don't want to call it fragrance, because fragrance implies you sort of take in ingredients and change them in order to create a smell. And we haven't done that. We have just taken straight essential oils. So the base smell of products.
I call it scent.
Scent, okay, scent. The base scent is that Boreal Forest Blend inspired by how beautiful, clean, and pristine the air smells when you're there. And then we layered on other kind of secondary notes, each different in the three products. But yeah, that was sort of like, there was just this epiphany, a few words, like it should be inspired by this place, and then just everything fell right into place. And we've ended up with what we feel like is such a unique product in a beautiful design. And all of the underlying decisions sort of have been driven by ensuring that it is clean and that we are leaving as small of an impact as possible in order to protect beautiful places on this planet, the first one being Charlottetown.
That was amazing.
Thanks.
Really, really good job. All right, so I don't know how I'm going to follow that, but why don't we switch up and you can ask me the next question.
Okay. Eli. What pushed us to create the first non-foaming oil-based cleansers for hands and body?
Great question. So one of the things that is amazing, one of the statistics that we came across when we first started exploring whether it would make sense to apply the non-soap, non-detergent approach to hands and body, is that 71% of people believe they have sensitive skin. So to me, that's like evolutionarily impossible. How could such a huge percentage of people feel like there's something wrong with their skin, it's too sensitive? And I really believe the answer is soap. Soap is an incredible invention that humans came up with, I guess a long time ago in some basic forms, but it became very, very popular in the 1800s when people started using it to wash their hands. And that saved lives. The life expectancy for human beings doubled when we started washing our hands all the time, after we went to the bathroom and before we ate. So in that way, soap is amazing, but putting it on our bodies every day, all over our bodies, as many times as we do, constantly, is just not what our skin was meant for. It's not how we evolved as beings. And so the sort of aha moment was soap really could be doing a whole lot of damage as well as good. And I wonder if there's a way to use new technology that is also very naturally derived and focused and not sort of chemical and detergent to get you just as clean as you need to be without the soap. And so the sort of core elements that we focused on for what we're trying to address with soap is that soap over cleans the oils from your skin. It strips away the lipid layer and weakens the lipid layer of your skin in a way that is that makes your body work to protect itself over time, which is often what creates irritation. So that was problem number one. Problem number two is that our body, as everyone knows, has a microbiome of very, very small, bacteria, fungus, little microbes that live on us. And they've evolved symbiotically on our skin, just like they have on our insides and our guts. And they really help us live healthy lives. So when you use soap, you are stripping away all of that healthy microbiome. And what that means is it's a free-for-all for invasive bacteria and fungi to come in and colonize and populate. And that also can create irritation. Some of the worst irritation I've ever had in my life has become, okay, so we'll skip that. But that's problem number two that we need to solve. Problem number three is that soap is inherently alkaline. It's basic, meaning it has a high pH. And it turns out our skin is more acidic, has a low pH. And so when you are applying so much product that is high pH to something that should be low pH, it throws the pH out of balance and actually erodes the structural integrity of the skin. So when you do the research, there's a lot that is not so great about soap. And what we created with Sans Savon is a product that gives you all the benefits of soap and addresses all of the negatives and actually improves on them. Yeah. So Sans Savon cleans with a micellar complex that is naturally derived from oils and basically is able to clean away all the dirt and everything you want to get rid of without over cleaning and stripping. So that's big change number one. Number two is that we added into the formulation a antimicrobial system that is also naturally derived, that actually is derived from deodorant technology. So people are created natural deodorants in the last 5 or 10 years that are quite effective. And we took the technology that is very focused on getting rid of specific bacteria.
Can I just jump in for a second? The word technology, I think, sometimes implies like it's a raw ingredient and it's actually a naturally derived antimicrobial. So I just want to make sure that
good point.
When you use the word technology, that sounds like it's been manipulated in a lot of ways or is doing something sort of like more complex, but it's an antimicrobial that kills
the bacteria makes you stinky. Right? That gives you body odor. Yeah. So we added that into.
And it also kills dangerous germs.
Also kills dangerous germs. And it actually, it's interesting. It doesn't kill them. It actually goes in and affects the outer cell membrane so that it can no longer hold onto your skin. And that means that it's easy to clean away. And so it removes the stuff that makes you stinky. It removes the fungi that give you athlete's foot. And it removes all of the E. coli, the salmonella, and all the things that you want to get off your hands really, really effectively. 99.9% removal of all the things you want to get rid of in the hand wash. And I think also in terms of getting rid of the body odor, also 99.9% for that specific bacteria. Yeah. What's fascinating is that the cells, the outer cell membrane for the core bacteria that make up your microbiome,
the stuff that we want
that you want
to keep on our bodies,
those are harder to remove. And so we're able to dose it so that we are not decimating the microbiome, but we are removing all of the stuff you want to get rid of. And in fact, we then added in a prebiotic. You all know what a probiotic is. That's where you actually put live bacteria into something that you ingest to sort of repopulate your stomach. A prebiotic is an element that feeds the bacteria. Mm-hmm. And so this has prebiotic in it to feed the good bacteria that we're leaving on your body. So it's a very sophisticated way of protecting your microbiome while also cleansing away all the things you want to get rid of. both dirt and germs. And finally, the pH is exactly aligned with your skin. So the ingredients we're using naturally have the right pH. They don't have the alkaline pH. And so we ended up with a product that that really is similar but completely different from soap, and delivers on the core need of cleansing that we all really need, and we wash ourselves all the time. But it does it in a way that is aligned with our body and balanced with our body, and therefore much healthier. And the other really great thing is that because we source these from naturally derived ingredients, it is an incredibly earth-friendly formulation as well. It biodegrades.
Right, it's just inherently biodegradable because everything is just coming.
And so it's a really, really fantastic formulation that we're very proud of.
Yep. Nice.
Great.
You answered my question.
No, I didn't really, because there's still a whole bunch here about how is Sans Savon different from other products on the market.
Right.
Not just soap, but like, why is this innovative here? So I mentioned a little bit about the micelles.
And the antimicrobials. That was like the first two big bullets.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you answered my whole question.
See what happens when you're a husband-wife team? I'm very sorry about that. Okay.
That's okay.
Well,
we can just go back to a question to you.
Well, no, because I think that we didn't talk about where the ingredients are derived from, and we didn't talk about any of the moisturizing properties. Yeah. So, like, I think there's a bunch here about the products, that you can share.
Okay. There's one more element that we wanted to cover about the formulas that Eli didn't cover. And that is sort of, we wanted to, even though are not, so, okay, I'm going to start again. The products are cleansing without stripping everything away, which you already explained. It is feeding and protecting your microbiome, which you've already explained. But we also wanted to sort of, if possible, ensure that we were sort of leaving our skin kind of hyper moisturized and protected. And so we added naturally derived humectants, which isn't super innovative. I think most beauty products for hand, skin, face have humectants in it. Humectants help to capture water within the skin. Is that the right way to say it? Mm-hmm. But our humectants are from upcycled ingredients. So previously used.
Yeah, what does upcycled mean? That's a pretty techie term.
There's a upcycled avocado oil, which has come from the seeds of avocados that weren't like pretty enough to sell. Or there's other upcycled ingredients where it's like the byproduct of making something has created another thing and we've taken that and used it. So it is a really important way to minimize your sort of environmental impact. And so I do think that piece is probably pretty innovative and different compared to the humectants that a more traditional
and examples
kind of beauty company might use.
So there's like the avocado example, there's grape seed oil that comes from...
Also humectant.
It's humectant, right? That comes from wineries. We have the fragrance from cedar chips comes from clippings.
Not cedar chips, pine. Or the spruce.
The spruce, it comes from clippings that we've used to then extract. We didn't extract this; someone extracted the oils. So it's a core part of what the mandate was for formulating these products, is to find ingredients that are as much as possible recycled. And we eventually applied that to our packaging philosophy too.
We did. So anyway, all those innovations, sort of using micellar complexes for the cleaning system, using the antimicrobial ingredient to ensure that we were cleaning what really had to be cleaned, and then using these upcycled humectants for increased moisturizing. just, I think, as we've already said, resulted in a product that is just as good as anything on the market at doing the things you need it to do, while ending up sort of leaving your skin softer, better protected, moisturized. And we're getting a ton of feedback from customers that they are finding their skin less irritated, less red, less itchy, less tight. Like that tight, over cleaned, squeaky, there's none of that.
Can you actually explain what the experience of using each of the products is like?
Well, you use them the same way you use any hand cleanser or body cleanser. Like, you get your hands or your body wet, you put them on your body and you rinse them off. So the way you use them is the same, but experientially they're really different because there is no, they don't foam. There is no bubbles. And so they kind of have this very silky, soft feel, really smooth feel. And that's so different because we're so programmed to think that it's the bubbles that is doing the cleaning, but it's not. And you don't need the bubbles to clean. And so, so it feels very different. It takes a little bit getting used to, because you're kind of like, is it everywhere? Have I used enough? Is it gonna work? Is it getting off of me because it's so moisturizing and you don't have that squeaky feeling? Like, all these questions, may come up when you first use these products. And when you get out of the shower or when you're done wiping your hands, like, they are much smoother and softer, but there's no residue. Like, you wipe your hands or you wipe your body.
It's got slip with no residue. It's like a very interesting combination.
Yeah, it's so lovely, actually. So experientially, they're pretty different too. And they smell, they smell so nice.
So on the smell, you sort of mentioned it earlier, but these fragrances, describe the smell. You described the quality of it, but like, it's not strong, right?
It's not like, well, it's definitely not strong. I really don't like a strong smell. It really bothers me. I don't like to still smell like a hair product or my body cream 10 minutes later, certainly not half an hour later. So it's not overwhelming, but it is, it does really impact sort of the experience while you're using it. Like, it's strong enough that you really notice it, especially we have this kind of small, tight, steamy shower. And so it fills up the whole space. So the scent is, clearly we're a little biased, but I think the smell is just like divine. It like smells so lovely. It smells so fresh, but it's not overpowering and it's not lingering. So I would say, that's sort of the highlight of the smell.
You can smell it right here. And one of the reasons that it is so subtle, but so rich, is that it's all from essential oils. It's just oils. There's no extra added fragrance, as Eric mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of products not only are adding kind of chemically changed fragrance, but they're actually adding stuff to make the smell stick around.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is just like, I don't know why you'd want that.
Back to your description of being in the shower, the reason we created this is for the body wash in particular, to capture it and hold it and distribute it really evenly on your body. It also has great, very gentle exfoliation, but it's an amazing addition to using the body wash.
Yeah, a very gentle, soft exfoliator.
Our puppy's coming over here to join the party too.
Okay, I have a question for you, Eli.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about the sustainability decisions we made along the way.
Okay.
We've touched on them a little bit, but why don't you kind of like go through them?
We care deeply about sustainability, and based on my experiences with other brands in the past, I had direct experience with the depth of greenwashing that exists out there, and have been personally committed to never overstating in any way the cleanness, greenness, or sustainability of any product that I've ever worked on. And so there are two elements to this. There's the ingredient side, and then there is the packaging side. And the ingredient side is what most people are focused on, right? There's clean beauty. And I've found it really, really frustrating to find terms that I could get behind, like organic,
right.
Or like there's no such thing in most cases as organic beauty. Particularly there wasn't in 10, 15 years ago when it first started coming out. It was just used as a trademark. But there are some standards out there that I do feel like represent the integrity that I would like to have around ingredients. And so the two that we focused on were the Credo Clean Standard and the Made Safe Standard. Credo is a brand of beauty, clean beauty retailing that has done a really nice job of maintaining a high level of integrity and say no to brands that have ingredients that they won't stand behind. We really respect them, and we wanted to make sure that we would qualify to sell through their channel. And the other is Made Safe, and Made Safe is actually created by a friend of ours who lives in our town and is a wonderful, wonderful woman. And she has insanely high standards for not just the ingredients and where they come from, but how the ingredients interact with each other. Mm-hmm. And so your formula, you can't just look at the formula list and be like, oh, that's going to be Made Safe. They have to do studies and tests to show that the ingredients interacting together don't create unintended consequences on your body and on the water table and in the earth. So those are the standards that we set for ourselves. We have not had the time or money, frankly, to go and prove that these were the standards that we meet, but the formulator who we work with formulated to that degree. And
we will.
Yeah, we will.
We'll do that eventually.
It's also important to know, like, when you go down this path, you have to really trust the people who are helping you with your product innovation. You have to trust the people who are formulating. You have to trust the people who are packaging, because there's only so much, especially when you're small, supply chain, checking and investigation that you can do to make sure that everyone is behaving ethically.
And exactly, and visibility.
And having visibility. And so what we have done is we've partnered with people who we know really, really care. Yeah. Like, this is core to who they are and what their value system is. And they have found most of the ingredients that we get are sourced from really small batch innovators who are coming up with ways of working with natural ingredients to deliver really special outcomes, like, for example, the antimicrobial system. Yeah. So having them as partners has been amazing. Switching to the packaging side, it's sort of easier on one level and harder also, because you need to have packaging. So when you're in business, no matter what, you are going to have a negative impact on the earth. You're going to be creating waste. The idea is, how do you minimize that? And so our core focus has been on the biggest part of this, is that we wanted a bottle that was gorgeous and beautiful and functional, and we wanted to minimize the impact. And the best way to do that is to only use recycled materials. So this is 100% post-consumer plastic. Back 10 years ago, when they first started introducing post-consumer plastic, there was no way it would be this beautiful. So the technology on that front has really evolved far. And this glass, this bottle feels like glass. Yeah. It is so thick and rigid and strong and heavy duty. And the idea is that we made it like that because we want it to be refilled over and over and over. So there's only one bottle that you're buying, unless you have more bathrooms and more kitchens or whatever. But it's just one bottle, and it can last a really, really long time. That's also why there is no label on this. Yeah. Right? This is all just bottle. And we wanted you to be able to clean it. We didn't want you to, when you get water on it, have to worry that it's going to peel off and it's going to stain things or anything like that. Yeah. So that was a huge element. Another piece is when you don't have the
Can I just jump in
Yeah.
before we move off from the bottle? We get a lot of questions, not really with Sans Savon yet, but in past experience with other brands on why we don't use glass. And I feel
Good point.
like most people think glass is better than plastic. And in some ways it is, but the reality is actually that producing glass takes way more energy than producing
carbon.
plastic. And so in fact, the plastic from that angle is much more sort of green, or has less of an environmental impact. And so you also can't put glass in your shower. Like, there's no brand out there or there shouldn't be, that is using glass in the shower, because it can fall and it can break, and then you would be cutting yourself. So
And there's one more piece, which is it's much heavier.
well, much heavier to ship, and so that just also increases sort of your carbon footprint. If you were to do a study of sort of any one product's carbon footprint from beginning to end, the weight, what it costs, like the impact of producing, all these things come into play. And so this really felt to us like the most green solution for the bottle.
Yep. When you don't have a label, you need to actually put information on for the customer to understand what you have, and also to meet legal requirements.
Yeah.
And when you have a heavy bottle in particular, the go-to solution is a really thick cardboard box. And we really didn't want to do that. And
Yeah, it's a lot of waste.
We struggled for a while, going down a bunch of different paths. And that's why we ended up with a bag.
Yeah.
This is a paper bag. And this uses a teeny fraction of the paper
Yeah.
that a carton would. And it is also FSC certified. The dyes are safe natural dyes. And we use the inside for storytelling. So this is a totally different experience.
Yeah. A lot of information is on the inside too. So we didn't have to include, like, sometimes with a sort of high-end product, there's all this other information to make it seem special. And like, we were like, okay, how can we communicate all the things we want to communicate, but use the least amount of packaging possible?
Yeah.
So we use every little bit.
And so for the bar, we did have to use a carton just to give some structure around it, but there's no glue. So I'm going to open this up and show you that it basically just
It
pops open. And it's
We use
pretty
the
cool. And we use the
inside.
inside for all the storytelling too. And then what looks like plastic, not plastic. This is compostable.
Yeah.
So this will compost and disappear entirely, this little bag. And you need that actually also to keep the bar fresh and safe. So lots of thought went into the packaging. We have minimized the footprint as much as possible and delivered something that we believe is beautiful and functional.
But as you mentioned, any business, any company, any really human being, let's be honest, is creating waste.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've done everything we can to try to minimize that. But do you want to talk a little bit about sort of 1% and how,
Sure.
to further offset some of
we
our
want
impact, we plan to join 1% for the planet.
Yeah, one of the things that's amazing about creating your own business and doing it just the two of us is that we really get to align our values with the business.
Yeah.
And make sure that things we care about are represented in the business, and that we don't have pressures to do stuff that isn't aligned. And one of the things we care about is giving back to the community, and particularly around environmental protection. And the idea here is that because these products are of a specific region of the Charlevoix, that we are going to be directing our giving back to this community, to the community of people who are living in the Charlevoix and the ecosystem of the Charlevoix. So 1% of the sales are going to go to environmental support. So there are a bunch of preserves of belugas that we already support with Hair Story, and we're going to support things like that more. There's a whole bunch of other habitats that we can help preserve. And we're also going to, as soon as we are cash flow break even, invest in the local human community too. Because in order for the people to preserve and respect the environment that they live in, they have to be living healthy, sustainable, happy lives. And we want to support them as well. So that's something that we hope to replicate. And I'm going to use that as a segue into sort of where we think we're going to go. Like, if this works the way we hope it works, we have some pretty big dreams. And where we'd like to take the business is to basically find other incredible, beautiful, pristine places to celebrate all around the world. And for each of them to take this core idea and the core formula here, but to create a fragrance profile that is of that region. And then we can basically be directing the same level of
charitable
support and celebration of this, and describing the community and introducing these places to people that they may not have known about, in ways that I think that'll be really nice. So rather than just coming up with different scents, we're going to really have them tied to specific places, and we already have a list of places in mind that we're really excited about, that I'm guessing 95% of you have never heard of. So we're doing our research, and we're gonna have to do more. But we also plan to, down the road, we want to sell through some retailers. We want to maybe even open up teeny little shops ourselves that I think would be really fun, where we could do refills. And so there's a whole refill idea down the road too.
Great. I think that's sort of the end of our set questions. Maybe we just do a little closer.
All right. Well, if you've stuck with us this long, that means that you are really engaged in our brand, and we thank you. And we'd love to hear from you. We'd love your questions. Yeah. As I mentioned before, Erica and I are the ones who answer our emails. We answer our DMs. We answer our questions and comments on ads or posts. So this is just us. You want to talk to us? We're going to be here. And I'm actually hoping to maybe do some lives. I want to spring that on you. We'll do some lives too, just to answer questions in case people have them. But we are thrilled to be here building this business. We need and really appreciate all of your support. And we hope that you'll join our family in expanding and building on this, what we feel is like a really awesome, fun project.
Looking forward to hearing from you. Reach out.
Bye.
Bye.